start with the top, which is the toolbar. This has your file, save, open, import functions here. Go through that. Import, merge, replace, link the FBXs. You can export your objects out of there. You can open different things here. You can even reset your document there. Then you've got your edit features, which allows you to move, scale, and rotate your objects, and then the placement. In Max, right, if you hit W on your keyboard, that is to move. If you hit E on the keyboard, it rotates your object. W, move. E is the rotation. All right. R is your scale. And I'm a huge advocate for using your keyboard shortcuts because it just makes what you're doing a little faster. It makes your work just a little bit faster. Let me turn on No Board. And No Board allows us to see where's No Board. Okay. All right, No Board. So No Board is my keyboard, on-screen keyboard. Now, whenever I make a move or click something, you'll be able to see what I'm clicking. So you can reference it back and then you'll know what exactly I did. So remember, W is the move key. So W, click on your object. W, move. E, rotate. R, scale. So Alt middle mouse rotates around my object. If I scroll in with my middle mouse, I can zoom in and out. F gives me my front view. T goes to my top view. L goes to my left. And to go to my right, it's kind of weird. You have to hit V on the keyboard, which brings up all of the views that you have. And then I can go to my right view there. So the last thing you want to remember is P brings back my perspective view. All right. So that's the basics of 3ds Max when it comes to movement. I'm Alt middle mousing to rotate, right click on the object to bring up the menu. This is my view cube here. It's pretty useless. You can configure it. And what I usually do is I turn it off and I apply it and I hit OK. It's just taking up space, RAM space on your computer that you don't need. All right. So hide your view cube just like so. Now you're working with this. So if I hit Alt and W at the same time, it's going to bring up my 4 quadrants. If I click this guy right here, I can set up my viewport. There's already these pre-built viewport angles that you can put there. So you can switch back and forth from these guys on the left-hand side right here. Right. I don't know anybody that does these. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like let me not say that, because unless you're working on something that is like an orthographic build, so like sometimes, let me see if I have my book here. Sometimes, like as practice or like a personal project, I will attempt to create. Do these have these in it? Yes, they do. So I'll attempt to create like some of these planes and stuff like that, but they always come with these like orthographic views. I don't know if you guys can see them. Can you guys see me still?
Yes.
You guys can see me? Okay. So I'm going to show it to the camera. So they come with these orthographic views on here. show it to the camera here too. And it's like the top down left and right views, and you'll bring those into 3ds Max in these views, and then you can use them as reference while you build. That's the only time that it's necessary. But if you're just working like on stuff in general, I just use one view, right? Sometimes maybe if you're going to show the art director something, or, you know, I don't know. I rarely use these multi-views. Maybe animators use multi-view. Like I'm going to have to ask an animator, like, what, do you guys use the multi-view, or is it just for, you know, because like when I'm in here, if I want to go to my front view, I just hit F on the keyboard and I go, you know, like that's how I usually navigate my views. And I'm never really using the 4 quadrants. I rarely use it. So that is that. So for this class, we are going to build a high poly coin. All right. I'm just going to show you a quick demo of the high poly process. And while I talk about the rest of the interface. So here we have our creation tab to the right of the screen. Let me pull this out. We have our creation tab over here. We have our standard primitives, which is pretty much most of what you're going to be using. You have your extended primitives, compound, your particle systems, your patch grids, your body objects, your doors, your NURB surfaces, your windows, AEC extended, which is like architectural stuff, point cloud objects, your dynamic objects, your stairs, Alembic, Arnold, USD, stage, and then you have your fluid dynamics and stuff like that. For the most part, most of the work we're going to do is going to either be in the standard, extended, and the compound object. If you ever want to learn more about any of these, don't ask me. I'm joking. In previous jobs, I have used the Windows systems. I have used the AEC extended. I've used some of the doors. Like I've used some of these in my previous job. I was creating a lot of construction sequences, so like buildings and different things like that. And that is when I used that a lot. I used a lot of AEC extended because what that allows you to do. So like if I have like plans for like a building or something. So let's imagine this is a building that we have. These are rooms. So I will build using this. So I'll go to my AEC extended and I'll go to my walls, and then I go pick spline, and then it'll build a wall for me. So like I'll do that again, and then pick spline again, right? Go to wall, pick spline right there. So now I've got my walls, and it's cool because if I have windows, then I can make my windows. And the beauty about 3ds Max is, right, if I wanted to now create my windows, I'm going to go to my snap. I'm going to snap it to the faces, and I'm just going to build this here. Actually, let's do width, height, and depth. So I'm going to do width, height, and then depth. And what it does is it automatically will cut out that hole for me. So now if I move this, you see how that hole is automatically cut in there. And then I can go to my window, and then I can add maybe some horizontal panel, some vertical paneling or something like that. So for construction sequences, for construction stuff, whenever I'm working on stuff like that, this stuff can be kind of handy, right? So like if I'm making a door, it'll do the same thing. I'm going to do S on my keyboard, and what that does is it allows me to build that. And I'm going to do the same thing where I do width, height, and depth. So I'm going to wide, height, and then my depth, and it's going to do the same thing inside of 3ds Max where it builds it for me. And the beauty about 3ds Max is, since I've created this, I can still increase the width, the height, and then I can make it maybe even a double door, right? And then I can flip the swing. And what happens when I do that is I can open the door automatically, and then I can flip the swing. So now we've just built a room, a door, right? Like imagine this is a building and a house. You can do some stuff like this really, really easily. All right. So this is the beauty of 3ds Max is, man, it can do so much. There's so much power inside of 3ds Max. There's so much that you can do with it that you can really lose yourself. And I've just been so blessed that I've worked in so many ridiculous industries. Like I started out in gaming, then I went to advertising, then I did some like stuff for like crime, then I did some stuff for aviation. So like I have just been so lucky, so absolute. Like I've been really lucky, right? To have met a bunch of really awesome people in school who have recommended me for jobs that, you know, it's been a blessing to be able to work in this field for as long as I have, and now have the opportunity to teach in it. All right. So this is some of the stuff that you guys can do with this. All right. So all of this stuff is in your panel to the right over here. So these are your AEC extended tools. So like I said, most of the time for this class though, we're going to be dealing with your standard primitives, your extended primitives, your compound objects, your particle system. No, you're not going to be doing particle system. Sorry. I went too far. I got too deep in the sauce. All right, so these three are going to be your mains, right? Like the other ones are your side pieces, right? Those are the side chicks. We're not dealing with the side pieces right now. You're dealing with the main roster right now. All right, your standard primitives. This includes your box, right? Hence the term box modeling. You're going to be dealing with your cylinders. This is what for your first assignment is probably just going to be this. Is mainly going to be this cylinder. If you guys want to take it a little step further, more power to you. I'm not going to hold you back on doing that, right? So whenever you're building something, it's, you know, and you haven't done anything to it, you have these parameters that you can still affect on the side, right? I can increase the height segments. You can't see anything happening right now as I increase this until I hit on my keyboard F4. And you still probably can't see it because it's so close to each other, it's white. So now, if I reduce those height segments, you can see what's happening, right? Height segments. And then I can increase the amount of edges on the side right here, and it's going to make my object smoother. All right. So the idea of game modeling is what we do is we will make two versions of our model. We will make a high poly version that looks like this. I'm going to add an edit poly modifier to the top of it, right? Control, click on my edges, chamfer, like that. And what that chamfer is going to do is it's going to give me a nice smooth edge. All right. So now this is what our object looks like. Oops. Right there. So I'm going to hit Control and V. That's going to make a copy of it. All right. It gives me options. I can make a reference, an instance, or a copy. Right now I want to make a copy, because what I'm going to do with my copy is I'm going to remove this edit poly. So now hopefully I can show you. I hit M on my keyboard and that brings up my material tab, and I'm going to add a red material so you guys can see the actual difference as to what's going on. So now I've got my red, which is the low poly, and I'm going to reduce the amount of sides. All right. So in a video game, what you guys are going to see is this high poly information, this coin right here, is going to be projected. All of this fancy, fun information, right? The smoothness is going to be projected onto this version of the model. I'm going to hit 7 on my keyboard, and that's going to bring in up our information. So let's configure this for a second. I'm going to go to my statistics. I'm going to choose total and the selection. I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to hit OK. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to unhide all. So if I select this high poly version of our coin, the high poly, you'll see that it's about 1800 polygons and about 1980 verts. But if I select the red one, it's about 180 polygons and 92 verts. So that's almost 5 times the amount, 5 or 10 times the amount of polygons inside of this model than this model. In a video game, in any video game, what they're going to do is they're going to give you this. This is what you get to see in the video game. If we're working on a movie set, however, oh, don't worry about that then. We're getting this. In Avatar, we getting it. In Toy Story, we getting this. Right? Ready Player One, we're getting this model. But in video games, there is a budget that we are all allotted. Every year, video game companies do try their best to increase the amount of polygons, the amount of edges that we can put into video games. They will try their best to increase it every single year. That's what their job is, right? Computers are getting faster. Graphics cards are getting better. The hardware is getting better, so the software in itself is actually getting better. But as of this moment, we are still dealing with this inside of video games. The video games you're playing are not going to be using these high poly, high density meshes. Trust me, we have come a long way. I'm not going to say that, oh, everything is super. It's not like N64. You're not getting PlayStation 1 anymore. You're getting closer to this, but we're still using this. So the techniques that I'm going to show you is to take this and project this information onto this. That's, in a nutshell, video game modeling. That's the nutshell of this class is. You're going to take this information and your job is to project it onto this object right here. And essentially you're tricking the player, you're tricking the viewer into thinking this 180 looks like 1872. That's it. It sounds complex. It may look complex to do, but in reality, it's not. Once you understand those fundamental concepts of game modeling and game design, you can make anything you want, right? So, in a nutshell, we are going to make a high poly, this guy, this blue. We're going to make a low poly. We're going to project our information from this high poly onto this low poly, and then we will present it. That's it. That's this class in a nutshell. And along the way, I will try to educate you guys on what you need to make it look better, BRDFs, chamfering, projection mapping, texturing. So all of those skills in combination is what makes these systems, these games go. Does anybody have any question from me before I move on? Do you kind of understand the process? Do you understand what I'm laying down, so to speak?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Nothing more, nothing less. Right? And as you progress in the classroom, as you guys get better, which you are, right? When at first, I'm telling you, like, it's okay. It's perfectly okay to not be good at this. You're learning, first things first, you're learning a new language. You're training yourself to be fluent at the language. And you're not going to be fluent yet. right? If I told you to go and learn Mandarin in 15 weeks, you're going to know some words. You're going to know a couple sentences, but you're not going to be masters of Mandarin yet. But however, if you moved to China, you picked up a local, right? You studied at one of their schools for extended periods of time, you will obviously become more fluent at it. You'll be able to pick up subtleties and subtle pronunciations and different things about the language. You'll learn the history of it. I'm asking you to do the same. I told you guys, the way I learn to do anything is I almost immerse myself in it. I listen to people saying it, people talking about it, people doing it. I do it myself, right? Those kind of things will accelerate your learning capabilities, your learning process. So give yourself the best opportunity. The first assignment that you guys have, just go get familiarized with the interface. Don't worry about modeling anything right now. Familiarize yourself with the interface. And then next class, we will talk about building your first model. We'll talk about, all right, making the coin and making the design on it. Then the next week, low poly, then texture, then render, then presentation. It's important for you guys to take it in bite-sized forms. Like I said, I'm going to give you a lot of information. But what I want you guys to do is, okay, we're getting a lot right now, but you will always have access to go back, watch the videos, read the lectures. I'll send you some information that you can learn. And the more you guys do, the more you guys learn, the better you're going to be. And remember, practice, practice, practice. Another thing that really got me good in college was, in between all the assignments that I would get about on 3D modeling, I would literally just look at my desk and I would pick an item on my desk and I would try to model it. So by the end of the semester, I had modeled everything on my desk. For some reason, I can't find the image today, but like I did it. Like I have a folder somewhere with every item. And actually, one day I was working at Picture Plane, and they make covers and they do like a cover design for games and movies and stuff like that. And I found the folder and I looked at all the models and all of the models were dog shit. I'm so serious. They were all horrible. But I had to go through that process. Like I had to go through the process of all of my models being crappy until I got to a decent model. So like I said, I don't expect you guys to be perfect, but I expect you guys to try. That's all I want from you guys. Just try it out. Just give it the best effort you can, right? It's not going to be perfect. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. But as long as you keep trying, you're going to get really far. So that's going to be it for the class. I'm going to let you guys get out a little early today. Like I said, go practice the interface, take the syllabus quiz. You guys already have a lot on your plate, I'm guessing. You know, there's a winter storm apparently that's supposed to hit. I'm not a big believer in the winter storm. You know, it's Texas, so I'm like, yeah, what's really going to happen? But according to my wife, it's snow-pocalypse or ice-pocalypse. They've got a name for it. I don't know. But something's going to happen. So hopefully you guys stay safe, stay warm. And yeah, we will see each other next Thursday. Does anybody have any questions for me before I dismiss you for the day?
No.
No? Okay. Well, you guys are free to go. I do appreciate you guys tapping in, pulling up to the class. It is awesome. I will see you guys